I'm from Argentina. I started my career many years ago trying to escape from family of CPAs, and I became a CPA.
I've never been to Argentina. In my early 20s, I really learned tango, and I was so wanting to go to Argentina. Audit, risk, compliance, GRC professionals. Our influence doesn't come from pointing out what went wrong. It comes from helping the business really move forward with clarity and with confidence.
What helps navigate crisis is consistency. The people that you lead knows that you are consistent.
During different crises, when everything is moving fast and changing, we need an anchor. We need the leaders to be like a lighthouse in the storm.
Management, successful management that really embrace the power of a good oversight community are the ones that are really going to succeed.
None of us has all the answers. I think the age of the leader who knows it all is well gone.
Be humble, being aware of the things that you don't know. Be open-minded to realize that we need the others.
People will take the cues from the leaders. So if the leaders are focused and steady and calm, that engenders confidence.
Be human, be empathetic, and lead through integrity.
The best sign of humility is being able to listen, ask for different perspectives. You know you're meant for more. More meaning, more influence, more impact. Welcome to Impact Legacy with Rania. I'm Rania Bejjani, board advisor and mentor to leaders globally. I'm here to show you how to stand out, shine, and lead with more authenticity, heart, and joy. Join me and my guests as we share inspiring human stories and decode the mindset and strategies you need to build trust, influence at the top table, and claim your impact in the AI era. Your legacy starts now. Let's begin. Hello, and welcome to this new episode of Impact Legacy with me, Rania. Today, I'm joined by an impressive lady who operates at the highest levels of global accountability. With over 25 years of experience navigating both the private and public sectors, she has impacted the way multinational corporations and international bodies manage risk across more than 40 countries. From leading roles at pharma and tech giants, Bayer and 𝗏𝗏 to the diplomatic halls of the United Nations, she has earned a reputation as a player coach who turns complex crises into clear, actionable strategy. Currently, she serves as the Director of Oversight for the Organization of the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the OPCW, the Nobel Peace Prize winning international body based in The Hague in the Netherlands, where she ensures accountability and institutional integrity at the highest level. As the chair of the Representative of Internal Audit Services, RIAS, and co-chair of the UN RIAS, representing over 120 chief audit executives across the entire United Nations system, she's quite literally shaping oversight on the world stage with a strong focus on innovation, technology, and data governance. Please welcome Dr. Silvina Coria. Silvina, what a pleasure to have you here with me today.
Now, the pleasure is all mine, Rania. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely wonderful to have you. And it's wonderful also that we're recording this today in London.
Yes.
And to be able to be together face to face, that's such a treat.
Finally, right?
Yes, finally. Well, as we are recording today this episode, the world is going through such a tumultuous time. The conflict in the Middle East is unfolding. Whether we're based in the Middle East or we're based anywhere else, none of us is untouched because teams feel it, clients feel it, the market feel it. So we are embarking on a time of uncertainty and potentially some chaos. So the theme of our discussion today, Silvina, is going to be about leadership, impact, and the role audit and risk and oversight functions play in navigating that chaos and uncertainty.
And that's a great topic, very current, I could say.
Yes.
And I think that we as oversight, we need to be very with the business. I think that the speed of the things, the escalation of the things, we as leaders, we need to be more than prepared and to be there on the front line of our teams, of our companies, of our organizations, and to really, really understand what are the challenges that our clients and our stakeholders are facing more than ever.
Absolutely. So this is a very, very timely topic, leading through crisis, stepping up and navigating the chaos and the uncertainty and the role that audit and risk will play. But before we get into all that, I'd love for our audience to get to know you a little better. I know you, and I love what you bring to the table. But why don't we start, Silvina, with understanding a little bit more about you? What our audience may not know is that you started your journey in Argentina, and you are originally from Argentina. So tell us a bit more about yourself and your at high level, your journey from starting in Argentina to today in The Hague. And in particular, perhaps you might want to emphasize or share with us a moment in your life or in your career that kind of quietly changed who you are today and shaped you as a leader today.
A little bit of me. I'm from Argentina. I started my career many, many years ago, and trying to escape from a family of CPAs. That I became a CPA, and then, quickly I fell in love with the auditing profession. I had the opportunity to start to build my career with a foot in Argentina, but always looking into other markets as well. And since then, I enjoy to build teams in GRC. Always, well, at the beginning, of course, looking into the Latin American market, but then rapidly moving towards, US, Europe, and also some Asian markets like India and Indonesia. But I think that one of the moments, if I have to reflect, one of the moments that shift me a little bit as a professional and what I wanted to do. After many, many years in the private sector, I started to, as I always said, to start flirting with the public sector. As I had the opportunity to become a trainer in anti-corruption and anti-money laundering through an initiative that was funded by the UN.
In Argentina?
In Argentina. So it's a group that started funded by the UN and by the GIZ, Germany. And the name is Alliance for Integrity. At that moment, they chose a couple of professionals that we were starting to walk the talk in compliance in Argentina. We talk about like the 2000s, right? When there was no law on anti-corruption in Argentina. So we started to become trainers of that initiative, engage with colleagues from all around the world, and try to share our challenges in order to have clean businesses in the region. And when that gave me the opportunity to participate in the B20 in the edition of President Macri at that time, I got to see first line, global decisions taking place in front of me, with the support of the fantastic work that all my colleagues and myself we were doing in order to promote governance and good controls. And that was that completely shift what I wanted to do next. Getting rid of not looking too much into results and money, more on the impact, right, on the communities, on the people. That the impact of the clean businesses and anti-corruption and good controls, right, good governance. How that shift the communities that we lived, and And this is one of the things that really had a click on me professionally. And then an opportunity came, and of course, I didn't doubt it. So
Wonderful, wonderful. I've never been to Argentina.
you should.
We were talking about that. I always wanted, in my early 20s, I really learned tango, and I was so wanting to go to Argentina, but I didn't. Well, hopefully one day. I forgot how to do tango properly, though. I really need to go and get some proper lessons. All right, so you've worked in Argentina, you've worked in The Hague. Where else did you work? You worked in
I work in
India,
US, I work in India, I
US.
work in Brazil.
Excellent.
Before being in The Hague, I was close to Amsterdam too.
All
So
right.
yes, I've
Okay.
been around.
All right. And likewise, this resonates quite a lot with me because I was born in Lebanon. My family
Mm.
went to Australia. I came to the UK by
Yeah.
myself. But I love traveling, and I lived in the Netherlands for a while. And I've worked practically all over,
Mhm.
and I love that part, and it's so enriching. So, but I would like your perspective. You've worked across cultures, as in
Yes.
different countries, but also you worked across different cultures, as in the private sector and
Mhm.
the public sector, and in terms of those changes that you've experienced. What would you say is the common uh, attitude or behavior that builds trust, regardless of where we are?
Okay. First of all, I would like to emphasize that I fell in love very, very at very young stage, right, of my career. I'm a very big. I have a very big passion about multiculturalism. I think that it's,
So do
and
I.
yeah, and I think that I had the luxury, right, to be able to create very diverse teams. And I'm not talking about just from the country's perspective, but also from the technical aspects perspective. So I
Yes.
really enjoy that.
Yes.
And I think that what I can say about what I can see as a cross-cutting thing among all the positions and all the opportunities that I have worldwide is I think that one thing that comes to my mind is consistency, right? To be consistent
Mm-hmm.
on who you are, to have a high level of empathy. Um, but I think that the consistency is what really helped me, right, in my leadership career,
Mm-hmm.
right, to be consistent,
Mm-hmm.
um, to adapt, to have a high level of flexibility and adaptation, and also high levels of resiliency, of
Mm-hmm.
course, right?
Yes, yes. I like you. I share that passion for the bringing together diversity in thought and
Mhm.
diversity in backgrounds. Now, given your role and the different involvements you've had, where often sometimes the stakes are high. And if we reflect about what's happening in the world today,
Mm.
and the stakes are certainly high,
Mhm.
how would you say, how would you say your inner compass works? Like when systems are under pressure and you know times are chaotic, uh, making decisions and being able to balance the integrity with the urgency, whether it be in your decision or when the business is taking that decision and you're looking at it, what would be your compass in getting that balance right between integrity and urgency?
Okay, so um, yeah, definitely in times of chaos, um, you have to, as a leader, you need to. Everyone is looking at you, right? So look for answers, and sometimes we don't have, the answers. And it's also good to recognize that. I think that um, to be calm, to try to strengthen the capacity that a good leader has to have. It's like a mandatory thing to have a very helicopter view of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be humble as well. Uh, being aware of the things that you don't know, right? Like, and to be open-minded to realize that we need the others, right? We need the others
Of
as well.
course, yes.
I think that those are the things that people in crisis always looks, right, into leaders for answers, and if they don't have, at least to be heard, to be listened, to try to plan together, right? What's the next step? What will be the next step?
What about balancing integrity with urgency? So when things are under pressure, there's a lot of urgency to get things done quick.
Yeah.
And when you stand for the ethics and the integrity and the non-corruption and the oversight, how do you navigate that particular?
Well, in times of urgency, the boundaries on ethics are getting blurred, right?
Yeah.
And I think that we need to. I think that that's when leadership takes a bit. It's being tested, right, at very high levels. I think that to stick to your values, to stick to the values of integrity, it's what really puts me, in my centrum. When leaders are being tested at that, and especially in times of chaos, right? Sometimes it's the fast answer is, okay, let's get rid of let's forget about the compliance issues, and let's forget about that, right? That's the easy exit, right? I think that we as leaders, especially in oversight, we have that clarity, especially in the public sector, right? And I think that all my colleagues will agree with me on this. We need to always stick to our values. That's our core, right? And that is what also the community, the member states, are expecting from us, right? So at the end of the story, we are representing, we are the guardians of the public interest, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that's a bit different from the professionals that works in the private, but still, I think that if we choose this profession, which is a fantastic one, in GRC, you have to have that as always as your flag, right? It's more about sticking to your values, sticking to integrity. Integrity is the center of everything that we do, and that's in moments of doubts, right? This is where that is your center. That is what your flag.
And was there any moment in your experience when probably things didn't go as well as planned or intended, and in managing crisis, in sticking to the integrity, in ensuring that the business
Many
follows the
times.
integrity? And what did that teach you about leadership and about how to manage the situation?
Well, I will say again, resiliency, right? So definitely there's a lot of this profession is not so easy sometimes, especially if you have a leadership position. The pressure, the stakes are very high. In some of the decisions or the recommendations that we give, the suggestions to the stakeholders are not sometimes pleasing to everybody, and because the impact of the suggestions that we give may not satisfy all the stakeholders, right? So, and definitely in my career, I had some examples. Luckily for me, the positive examples are better are more than the negative ones. But yeah, it taught me that at the end of the story, what I found is that sticking to my values, sticking to the community that helped me to overcome those moments of not doubt, but pressure and high stakes, helped me to overcome that in a, I would say, in a more resilient way. But what I learned is that if you stick to your values, if you stick to your beliefs, your professional beliefs, at the end of the story, everything turns out well.
Sure.
Rania, from your experience advising boards and executives globally, right? What are the qualities for leadership, right? So what are the truly the ones that really moves the needle, right, for leadership today?
Well, we can talk a lot about many things, but when we are in a state of crisis, and I speak from personal experience,
Mhm.
on one hand, I grew up in a war zone, and I know what it is like, and the uncertainty, the chaos that this engenders, and then also having lived in different countries and led global teams in during different crises, from the 2008 to
Yeah.
then through going through Brexit to large transformations, and also advising different executives during these kind of large crises in companies. There are 5 things that I believe really matter. First of all, when everything is moving and moving fast and changing, we need an anchor. We need, we need the leaders to be like a lighthouse in the storm,
Mhm.
in the sea. That leader, he or she needs to be able to to actually do what it says on the tin, to lead, to guide, but to stay calm, to stay steady, to keep their cool, and to be able to come back to those visions and anchors and
Mhm.
values, to make sure that they are navigating the team to safety, and and really lead by example, because people will look
Yeah.
up to them in these situations, and they take people will take the cues from the leaders. So if the leaders are focused and steady and calm, that engenders confidence
Mhm.
and calm in their teams and
Mhm.
in the organization and for external stakeholders. The other thing I say is around communication. In period of crisis, it's really important that leaders communicate more, not less, because already so many fears and questions and concerns swirl into the minds of their people, and they need to address these full on
Mhm.
and actually talk about them openly. The third thing I'd say is really be the human leader. Make the time to speak, to engage, to listen, like you were
The
saying
empathy, right?
earlier.
Yeah.
The Yes, but I can give you an example of one particular executive. We were working together on a transformation that was
Mhm.
happening, and just by opening a space in their agenda and inviting people to come in and share what are their concerns, that alleviated a lot of that uncertainty. So it provided breathing space. The fourth thing is definitely about that resilience and about that agility in time of crisis, and it's very much about like hoping for the best but preparing for the worst. So having the plans, particularly if we're talking about audit and risk as well, having that crisis management planning, those plan B's and plan C's, and helping and supporting the business to do that. And I'd say finally, the important thing is about also staying optimistic and positive. It's very easy to focus so much on what could go wrong, that we really need to make sure that we are, keeping the focus on what could go right, and seize the opportunities. So not get paralyzed, and keep the momentum going. Keep executing, keep moving forward to able to achieve
Completely.
things.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and it reminds me my times. I was just landing in this new position at the organization, and then COVID started, right? So, and
Yes.
I was coming from a tech company before. The organization, my team had never had the opportunity, neither the practice, to undergone on online audits or online, work.
Yes.
There was a lot of course, uncertainty at that moment too,
Absolutely.
and everything that you have just said helped me, and also building on, bringing technology part, right?
Yes.
So how to help them to undergo, that crisis as
Yes.
well in the best way possible, and maybe not with all the answers, right? As a
Definitely
leader.
not all the answers. None of us has all the answers. And I said it, and you said it beautifully earlier when you said humility. And I think the best sign of a humility
Mm.
is being able to listen
Yeah.
and ask for different perspectives. I think the age of the leader who knows it all is well gone.
Well gone.
Well gone.
Yes.
Well, back to you, Silvina.
Mhm.
And you are leading oversight at the OPCW, at the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. And as we look at what's happening in the world today, that brings up this notion of responsible leadership today.
Mhm.
And with given your experience over the last few years at the OCPW, what would be your perspective about responsible leadership today in light of all that chaos and uncertainty?
Again, something that I mentioned before. I think that what helps navigates crises like the ones that we are facing now, in that it's a big one, but we have had before as well. I think that is consistency, right? To stick to your roots, to that the people that you lead knows that you are consistent. The things that you said that are the things that you are doing as well, and no matter what is the I think that we need to embrace crisis, right? So
Yes.
these is are very negative times, of course, but I think that if we are consistent, if our teams are seeing us acting in a very consistent way, that is the way they are going to follow you.
Yeah.
They are going to act. They're going to continue delivering with the impact that these type of organizations, require. I think that this is also what the public, what the world is expecting from organizations that are, setting standards and are caring for humanity. So I think that this is consistency is a big, I would say, safeguard, right, of for these organizations to continue be as successful.
I like that. And I think there's a lot of benefit, a lot of value in actually consistency to create stability. So, Silvina, the show is called, my podcast is called Impact Legacy. So, when you reflect on your career as a leader, what do you think your greatest impact has been? And what would you like to be remembered for? What is the legacy you'd like to leave behind?
I think that my for my legacy, I as I said at the beginning, I enjoyed um, eh, building teams very diverse, and that those teams have an impact, a real impact
Mm-hmm.
in the organizations, right? Into in helping the organizations to improve their governance, to improve, their reputation. I think that if we have GRC professionals, we strongly realize how powerful the things that we do and that we deliver brings to the reputations of organizations in times like this, especially in times like this
Yes.
of chaos, right? That will and of course management and understand the role of oversight professionals, of auditors, of compliance officers, right? And squeeze that power, right? Today reputation is everything, or the organizations that are going through chaos, are going through crisis. It's not anymore that, if a crisis happens, no one will know, right? In 2 seconds, you are out there. And I think that successful management that really embrace the power of a good oversight, community, are the ones that are really going to succeed, right? Because they are really caring about the safety of their organizations, the safety and
Absolutely.
the results, right, of that.
Mm-hmm. Let's dive a little bit, deeper perhaps into audit and risk. Um, you're interested in AI in innovation,
Yeah.
etc. From your vantage point as at the, across 120 chief audit executives, what is changing in audit and oversight that most people are not seeing yet?
The AI is, and the technology shift that we are facing in the last couple of years, I think that it's if you don't embrace it, if we don't give our teams the possibility to to test, to experiment, to fail, right, in a safe scenario, right, I think that we are already behind. The oversight community, especially in 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s and UN 𝗏𝗏𝗏s, is deeply conscious about it. We are trying our best to squeeze the opportunities that that our budget allows us to go and test and do the best that we can. Of course, the private sector is a better positioned, I could say, because of budgets. We don't have to be afraid of what the power of AI is bringing to the profession. I think that the IIA has started with some certifications programs, etc. I think it's a very first step, but I think it's more about that's the thing that our profession, the professionals in our field needs to have, right? The curiosity, right? The continuous learning, right? We don't have to be afraid of AI and the power that it brings to give us, that free time to really use our brains in what matters most, and in empower the use of technology to bring more impact and more value to the organizations. And I think that the people that is afraid, it's because are the ones that are, even using AI and, are going to still not, being impactful with their reports and their insights to the organizations. And I think that, it's something that we need to invest time, right? So especially the professionals that are, in mid-senior levels, right? Don't leave only this to the young talent, right? Embrace it too.
Yes, there is a bit of I see that there is a bit of a trepidation and reluctance sometimes, and I guess because people at a certain age assume that they managed and mastered the technical aspects of their business, of their jobs, excuse me, and suddenly they find themselves having to learn completely new skills, and so there's definitely trepidation there.
Yeah, but I think that our profession is one of, I believe, right? So it's one of the ones that you are forced to a continuous learning, right? And
Absolutely.
if you don't like that, just do
Yes.
something else.
Yeah, oh,
Right?
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, I'd love also to ask you from your perspective, because you've chaired RIAS for a number of years and now you're chairing the UN RIAS, and you're also a founding member of Windmills, which is an organization encouraging women in oversight and audit, etc. And when you look at what's happening in the world now, on one hand, you've got potential AI disruption and all the trepidation and concerns and fears that people have around that. On the other, all the things that are happening like now in the world, geopolitical uncertainty that potentially has could be leading to massive economic volatility. What do you say audit and risk and oversight functions need to do to really help their organizations navigate this chaos today?
Today, more than ever, we need to have a seat at the table, but not just a seat, and to have a voice, right?
Yes.
To have a voice. I think that oversight professionals are the most the most suited because of the type of vision that we have.
Yes.
The cross-cutting vision that we have. I think that there's no managerial rather than the CEO, right, that has the level of cross-cutting vision that we have, and that's super powerful, right? And I think that to be in the table is not enough, right? So some professionals in our field believe that being there could undermine their independence, right? And I'm totally against that. I think that to be there on the table of where decisions are being taken, sometimes with not enough information, we need to be there to be the best advice, the best advisors that those organizations can have. I think that we know that what's going on in the field, we know what's going on at top level, we know what's going on at mid level. So to give a hand, of course, with the boundaries that we have, but it's more than ever the most today is more than ever the best support that we can give to the organizations. Yeah.
I would agree with that. And from my point of view, how could internal audit, risk management, compliance, GRC, oversight step up today to help navigate organizations go through the uncertainty? Is first and foremost is really working side by side by management. And I like what you said about it's not about worrying about independence. I'm totally with you on that. But for me, like if I reflect on my career, for example, and where were there defining moments where audit and risk made a significant, meaningful difference, it was when crises has occurred. And I can think of at least 5-6 mega crisis examples that have happened in the business. And what moved the dial is that we, as internal audit under my leadership, we rolled up our sleeves and we sat and we worked with the business. And we, there was no focus on shaming and blaming and naming, but really on understanding what went wrong, how can we learn from it, what can we change. And actually, when we take that information to the C-suite and to the board, then we're taking meaningful, valuable insights.
And connecting the dots, right?
And connecting the dots, absolutely. And this is like a lot of the messaging and advice I give to my clients today is that, internal audit and risk are strategic assets. And what that means in reality is that you're actually working with the management shoulder to shoulder, helping them and really digging in terms of getting the lessons learned and joining the dots and the value so that the business can benefit from it. So we're not just reporting on the past, but we're shaping the better future.
Yeah, and I think that when I hear some or I read some articles saying, well, the fear that some people has on auditors and on oversight, and hearing from base of your experience, based on my experience in the field, I think it's such an old-fashioned image, right? Some management that still sticks to that police image, right? That unfortunately some professionals, right, in the past used to have. I think it's fundamental that today, an organization that wants to have a successful, business, a clean business, and also build a better reputation, right, necessarily requires oversight professionals to help to shape that, right, and a management that doesn't looked as us, as an asset. It's such an old-fashioned view, right? So I think it's.
But it takes two to tango. We started with
Yeah,
tango, talking
we
about
finished with
Argentina.
tango, right?
We're finishing with tango, but it does take two to tango.
Yeah.
So if I firmly believe that if management have these perceptions, it is the ownership and the accountability on the audit and risk to change those perceptions by demonstrating that they are not police and by really demonstrating that value. And today more than ever, as businesses are like ships lost in a storm, and I expect that more things could be happening, then audit and risk have a really important role to play in studying those ships and bringing them to safe harbor by doing those scenario planning and crisis management and rolling up their sleeves and looking at what can we learn from this and how can we strengthen the organizations to be resilient.
Yeah.
I'd love to ask you a couple more questions. Are you already using AI?
Yes, we are. And as I said, we started a couple of years ago. And I think that the easiest example that we
Yes.
had was on knowledge management, basically on using AI in videos, right, to explain to our staff, what is the type of work that we do, what are the deliveries, things that were easy, right, to test. And then, of course, we start building, as many in the community, prompt libraries, and play around with information that we could be using because, of course,
Yes.
due to confidentiality, there are
Yes.
some restrictions. I think that the challenge that we will have as a community, especially in the public sector, but I guess private companies are also facing that problem, is on the governance of the AI.
Yes, this is an important topic,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yes, and I think that there's a lot of question marks around it, in what it would be a good fit for that.
Yes.
And as GRC professionals, I think that we have an opportunity there, to be there when the discussions around governance of the AI are taking place in our organizations. There's a lot of documents that are going around, policies around, but still I see that requires more discussion. And our community in general, I don't see as active as I would like. I think that we are allowing the organizations to go and to do something, but then I don't see us so involved in those conversations, right?
Okay. And how do you think that if you were to reflect on your experience, how do you think you could get involved more, and what would be your tips for those listening to us?
First of all, understanding, right? Understanding that AI. A lot of people in the community believes that AI is just generative AI, right? I'm not
Yes.
gonna name any brand, but and it's way more than that, right? So, and we are using AI, even if you don't know anything about AI, you're already using. If you have a smartphone, you are using AI, right? So, and I think that understanding and then taking good examples, the EU is doing a really good advance in policy making on that.
Yes.
And I think that is going to be, a good standard, right?
Yes.
Something to start working on
Yes.
and to be inspired on, and to connect with others, right? Within the community and outside the community,
Yes.
with tech professionals, right? With policy makings, and to understand the business, right?
Yes.
So to
Yes.
have business acumen on that would be fundamental.
That's really good. I do believe overall that the way that we're working with the business and what the business needs today, um, audit and risk, whether it be through AI or through non-AI, has such a crucial role to play now. Would you agree?
Yes, for sure. I think that, our role in the poly crisis, like we are,
Yes.
happening now, that it's happening now, that I think also we need to stick to this. I think, well, today, of course, unfortunately, the unfortunate events that the world is going through, it's very negative, but still, economical crisis, hunger, environmental crisis, right? So I think that as oversight professionals, we are very equipped, right,
Yes.
to help the captain of the ship to
Absolutely.
find a way through the storms,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
and our flag should, it's always, integrity, right? And leadership, in integrity leadership. I think that
Yes.
to help our ships to navigate
Yes.
those storms
Yes.
that will be never ending, right? We will have some days of sun like we have today
Yes.
here, but I think that is something that we need to be conscious about the role that we
Yes.
play on that,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And I also believe that our influence as audit, risk, and compliance and GRC professionals, our influence doesn't come from pointing out what went wrong. It comes from helping the business really move forward with the clarity and with confidence.
It doesn't come definitely from a title, from where we can be perfectly allocated in the on organigram, but if you don't have, if your voice is not being listened to, if you don't really have an
Yes.
impact on the decisions that moves the needle,
Yes.
you can have, I've seen a lot of professionals that are very courageous,
Yes.
that have the best allocation of resources in the organigram, and they report to the right
Yes.
committee and to the right part of the organization, but then nothing happens, right?
Yes.
So I think that that's where
Yes.
the power of our impact really is tangible, right?
Correct. And I also firmly really believe from my experience and from advising on my clients that, audit creates value. Audit and risk and GRC create value, not when it really reports the past and focuses on the past, but when it empowers the business with the insights and it shapes what's next. And ultimately, it's not only about the governance, but it's about the impact we create and the value we create.
I think that I like to use analogies, right? So I see audit as a rear mirror, right, of the car,
Rear
right?
mirror.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think that that's why I really love the way now advisory is being suited in the standards, because advisory is, if it's driven well and if it's managed well,
Mhm.
could really help the entire community to have a more positive impact to our profession, right?
Yes.
And to be heard more by management. I think it could be our GPS, right?
Yes. Excellent. Well, as we close, two quick questions. Okay, sharp and quick. So, if a young professional, be it an emerging leader, a young lady coming for advice, or any professional, what would be your a quick advice for them to forge a successful career?
Create, don't be afraid of reach out to networks, to create networks if in your community there's none.
Okay.
To start reaching out, to try, fail. Don't be afraid to fail.
Uh-huh.
I think that
By try, you mean take risks and
yes,
try new
exactly,
things.
right?
Uh-huh.
Try new things. Definitely embrace technology, right?
Uh-huh.
There's I don't see professions today completely analog, right? So I think that AI will have a role to play in mostly everything that we do.
Uh-huh.
But also, I think that the most important is to connect with others, right? So the
Okay.
networking and create that level of collaboration and knowledge sharing
Uh-huh.
within your community and
Uh-huh.
outside your community is
Uh-huh.
crucial.
So three things you said. Now reach out and network, be curious and try new
Yes.
things, and leverage technology.
Yeah.
And final thing, if you could put one sentence on a billboard outside the UN office so that every corporate headquarter in the world can see it regarding integrity, what would that billboard say?
Be human, be empathetic, and lead through integrity.
Fantastic. Well, these are the sort of conversations I'm really passionate about when working with boards and executives and the audit and risk community to drive real impact and change the world. Uh, Silvina, such a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Rania. I enjoyed very much.
Likewise, I'd say thank you for sharing your thoughts and your experience generously with me and with all our listeners. And I look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Thank you so much.
If today's conversation resonated with you and you're looking to strengthen your leadership, elevate your impact, or navigate complexity with greater clarity and confidence, I'd love to have a conversation. You'll find my contact details in the show note below, and let's explore advisory, mentoring, or speaking at your next event. You will also find Silvina's contact details in the show note below. Let's connect and explore how we can create meaningful impact and build your legacy together. Thank you for tuning in, and to the next episode of Impact Legacy with Rania. Thank you for tuning in to Impact Legacy with Rania. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe or follow so you never miss an episode, and click the bell to be notified of new releases. If this inspired you, please pass it on. Your likes, comments, and shares help us reach more people, because together we can grow this journey of influence, impact, and legacy.